everyone to the LEC and the final fight in the race for playoffs, the tiebreaker game between SK Gaming and Vitality. What an incredible climax to this split, or to the regular season that will be coming up. We will be previewing the game with Rogue's Finn. Finn, who of course earlier qualified for those playoffs. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
We already heard in the interview that Ender didn't believe you could do it. We both believed you could do it.
You're a Kled player.
Yeah.
I only believe in Kled players.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Joinby's a Kled mid
Oh
player.
yeah, actually I'm the biggest zombie fanboy. Actually.
Exactly. So when I saw you locking Kled, I was like, yes, we get a Kled player in the LEC.
But I was like playing Kled mid in Solokin, I was like, oh my god, someone's actually playing it, and I was getting so hyped about it.
Finn's
New
my favorite
friendship
player.
is born, and Kled friendship as well. Fantastic. Though you didn't manage to win the game versus Fnatic.
Yeah.
Key player of the game, rather reckless. 49% of the vote. Did he deserve it?
No. I mean his AD carry was smurfing so hard, like that Twitch was, it was goosebumps actually.
A bit too much of a happy game for you guys.
I mean we tried out some stuff. That's
I love it. You're now on G2's level. You've qualified for playoffs. You can try stuff even in a game versus Fnatic.
I mean, if it works out, it's nice. If it doesn't work out, it looks a bit awkward. But I mean, I don't regret that we went for it.
It was
nice.
really fun to watch. So there we go. Now let's preview the last game, the tiebreaker game. Whoever loses here between SK Gaming and Team Vitality ends their 2019 season. Just to be clear, not only will the loser fall out of playoff contention, there is no way for the loser to qualify for the World Championship, thus play in the qualifier, or aka the gauntlet. Their season is completely done. So let's start with Vitality. They've been struggling since they went to Worlds in 2018. Is that fair, or is that too tough on them?
I mean, they've had some peaks and troughs, a lot of inconsistencies, and it kind of feels like at different points, different people took a step back on the roster. Cabochard, I think, has been really solid. Jiizuké kind of disappeared for a little bit, came back, was looking stronger. Even Attila and Jactroll had some shaky moments, but recently they've really turned it up. It's just cohesively, this team isn't playing like a team. And it feels like you look at their players individually like, oh, they're still strong players, but they're just not moving in the same direction.
What is your opinion on how Vitality's been playing, and especially that they're on a 4-game losing streak now coming into this one?
Yeah, I feel like Vitality is really a momentum-based team. I think the results back it up as well. That, I mean, when they get going, they have like good scrims. They feel very confident in their plays, like they commit as a team. But then if they start losing, maybe, I don't know much about them, but maybe they like start doubting themselves a bit more, feel a bit more hesitant towards the plays they're making, and that's why we don't see the same like strength, because that's kind of their main thing that they go for.
Yeah.
And in terms of the tape that we've seen, if we look at SK, you know, Vitality, momentum-based, they need that good mental headspace. They're on the losing streak right now. They're in a downward trend, whereas SK Gaming have been able to pull themselves out of it. And I think that's a huge swing and a huge determining factor here. We know that SK Gaming can get out of that trough, and we haven't seen Vitality able to pick themselves out of it yet.
Yeah, Finn, can you talk about kind of the headspace that both the teams are probably in? A Vitality that only had to win 1 game, and now they're in a tiebreaker. And if you're SK, you've been in the underdog position yourself. Now you only have 1 game left and you make it in playoffs. Can you compare the two?
I mean, it's a scary place to be in for SK as well, because they feel like, oh my god, we're so close. Okay, so that's when you're really easy to like tremble and fall. So I mean, I think both teams, I think the stronger mental will come out on top today, this last game. Vitality, they're in a really tough spot. They lost 4 games in a row now, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I mean, it's honestly, I mean, I'll give it to SK for sure. I feel like they're really similar to Vitality in a way that they're very emotional. They're very, I mean, when they commit to plays, they commit as 5. And they want to go in hard, right? So I feel like they have the mental advantage right now over Vitality.
I mean, they have been winning, and they came into this weekend when we all said, you know, on paper, you have less than 1% chance to even force a tiebreaker to get into playoffs. But SK Gaming did exactly what they had to do. They came into the weekend, they won 2 games in a row, and now find themselves in this position. Now you can only commend their vigor so far, Frosk.
Yeah, and it was kind of the same story of Vitality, where they just weren't syncing together. You knew that individually they had the right pieces, and then Jenax comes in, and for whatever reason, this guy was like the magic formula, the secret stuff, the glue that held everything together. And now Selfmade looks like he's back in performance. Crownshot and Dreams have been so consistent for this lineup, and you're even getting to see Sacre start to pop off a bit.
Yeah, indeed. How much of that is a honeymoon phase, you know, when someone new comes into the lineup that goes better?
Yeah.
Is it a honeymoon phase, you think?
It's hard to say. I just feel like maybe SK played a lot worse than they actually were for a lot of time. Like, it's like when you go into this downward spiral and you're just losing and losing and losing, you kind of get demotivated, right? It's like, oh, man, we're losing everything, like, fuck it. But then, like, they get this new guy in, he brings a lot of motivation, like, he wants to prove himself, he gets the chance, right? And he kind of spreads that energy to the rest of the team. Like, everyone kind of starts believing that they can actually win again. Because I think a lot of the team, before Jenax was subbed in, they felt like, this split is doomed.
Yeah, who's that on your team who brought the positive energy to Rogue?
I mean, I wouldn't say I did the same, because we were like always a team together. I mean, I played with these guys since January, so we know each other already. So, I mean, it wasn't the same honeymoon. I think me and Profit just has very different playstyles and champion pools, which kind of, I think we can use mine in this meta right now, but Profit is always ready to step in as well.
Okay, yeah, the atmosphere seems great. To get back to this match, how do you think Sacre versus Cabochard is going to influence the match? Is it going to tilt it in one direction or the other?
I mean, I think these top laners are kind of similar in the way they want to play. Like, both really want to get the counter pick and bully their lane matchup. Like, Cabochard is a classic red side player, right? He always has something prepared. If people blind pick GP, he goes Lucian and he proceeds to like smack him up. While Sacre is also very known for like his Kennen, his Jace, his Nico, like Gnar, like the range champions that also has a lot of lane pressure. So I think the coaches will need to kind of figure out how they want to draft the top lane, like how they want to blind, how they want to prepare the bans for the second phase probably.
Okay.
And see how they want to, because I think top lane matchup, whoever has a stronger 1v1 will have a very big impact in this game.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. We're almost ready. So predictions, who's making it to the playoffs? Frosk, SK, or Vitality?
I mean, we just talked about the mental factor. I'm in alignment with Finn here. I think that this is all about SK. I think that they have the win behind them. They have the momentum behind them. And unfortunately, they figured out how to play as a team, and Vitality have not. And I think that's the difference maker.
Finn?
I mean, I'm very grateful for SK. I'm their biggest fan right now because they won for us today. So we could have fun last game. So I believe in SK. Honestly, from my heart, I think they'll win for sure.
Okay, 2 times SK, and I gotta say, I am on the SK hype train. They have come here and won the games they had to win, and Vitality has dropped the ball. Can they pick it back up? Time to find out our last team for the LEC Summer Playoffs. Let's hit the rift.
Thank you very much, Sjokz. Welcome back to the Castles for the final game of the summer season. And Quickshot, joined by Vedius and Ender. And SK Gaming will be on the blue side. Vitality will be on the red side. And Vedius, the stakes could not be higher. Both of these teams made round 1 playoffs in spring. They both crashed out. Only one of them does today.
Well, what's important to remember is last split, SK Gaming were in a tiebreaker game against Sjokz that they were able to win and secure that final playoff spot. Now they're in the same position. Can they make the same thing happen?
And with the momentum behind them, you have to feel like all the stars are aligning for this squad. Ever since bringing Jenax back into the team, this squad has gone 4-2 and are on a roll here in Week 9.
As we jump into the bans, Draven taken off the table, targeted towards Attila. Crownshot will lose access to his Ezreal, which he played earlier today, and then following up with the Karma. No big surprises just yet.
Okay, so if you think about priority picks for both these teams, SK, with Perion moving out of the roster, Karma is something they don't choose to put a lot of value on, and they also know that Cabochard does like to play it up towards the top side of the map, so they're going to take that one off the board. With the Rumble gone, that shows some respect towards what Sacre was doing earlier in the day, and they want to deny some of that mid-game power. Akali is the big pick that I'm looking at right now, along with Silas both being left open and available.
I also have my eyes on the Sejuani here for Selfmade. Yuumi up too, so a lot of different picks that these two teams can try to opt in. I think the Rumble ban is a little bit deeper on the side of Vitality too, removing a safe blind pickable option from Sacre, one of his best melee champions in the top lane. We heard Finn talking on the desk how top lane could be very important in this type of a match, and if you can put Sacre on something like a Kennen or a Nico and then hard punish him in lane because you know he wants to play aggressive, that's certainly a strategy that Mowgli would love to go for.
Now notice how Vitality, after seeing the Yuumi, instantly lock in the Lucian, a comfort pick for Attila, along with denying the Lucian Yuumi bot lane. On top of that, they get the Corki for Jiizuké, a safe laner that allows him to play aggressively as well. So I feel like Vitality are very comfortable with how they've answered the immediate Yuumi lock-in.
And I'm sensing a Volibear pick on the horizon, something that Vitality have taken in to just punish the Yuumi. It's looked real rough dealing with that champion. Of course, the Lee Sin, another pick that Mowgli loves to go for. Jarvan to these early game junglers that can try to unlock in these skirmishes early in the game.
And we can see the Aatrox already secured here for SK Gaming. A comfort pick for Jenax, but it is also a flex. It can be tweaked. The Civ is secured, and I can see a furled eyebrow, Vedius.
Well, I'm a little surprised. I feel like that Sivir, one of the things that she can struggle with, especially against Illusion, is gaining early pressure. One of her biggest assets is her wave clear. However, it's difficult to approach the wave when you're up against Illusion and potentially a volley bear as well. If we assume that Jactroll wants to keep... the Analyst works even more effectively. So I feel like Vitality are very comfortable right now in the 2v2 down towards the bot side of the map.
This is definitely going to be a game where the teams try to split the map down the middle. For Vitality, it's going to be attacking the Sivir and the Yuumi down bottom side. Yes, we don't know what they're going to be packing in the top lane, but already you can sort of see this unfolding. And SK are probably going to be hoping to get a strong, powerful solo lane for Sacre that Selfmade can try to play around.
Remember, the Vitality also get the counter pick. So after getting themselves a strong 2v2 in the bot side of the map, they also can see where this Aatrox is going to go, and they can allow Cabochard to get a winning top matchup. And we heard on the Analyst desk Finn talk about how both top laners like to just get the counter pick. And in this situation, Vitality is going to be in the better situation, especially with the Rumble being banned away, one of the safe options for SK.
Take a look, at the phase 2 bans here. Silas and Evelyn. Little surprised by the Evelyn myself. Followed up by Jarvan as well. Neither jungler has secured the pick just yet.
Yeah, so the Evelyn was a pick that Selfmade played a little while ago to great success, specifically alongside the Yuumi, allowing the Yuumi to really hyper-enable him inside of the jungle. So a respect ban for a pocket pick on Selfmade.
It's also AP. Notice how both the junglers banned away are the Silas and the Evelyn. And right now, the Aatrox is locked in. And this is something that SK have often put in the mid lane as well. With the Gragas lock being the final for Vitality, they're almost forcing Selfmade onto something like an Elise, but the Sejuani is, of course, still up in a bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I really expect him to try and pick that Sejuani up. Selfmade, whenever it's available, has tended to shift much more in that direction. The team, as we see it now, is lacking a little bit that hard engage from range. The Sejuani will definitely back that up. And for top lane, maybe something like a Kennen here for Sacre. I would love to see him on a lane bully here that Selfmade can try and support early.
When I see both of these team compositions, I see some frontliners with some powerful engage and some damage to follow it up. We could have some juicy team fights as the game plays out. Over the last couple seconds with an Akali, hover, and lock. Sacre, Aatrox, Jenax, Akali.
Sacre has not played a game of Aatrox or Akali at all this entire split. It has been all about those ranged top laners, but instead going to be taking on a different role within this SK team composition. This will be a very new look for Sacre.
So I very much expected the AP to come out from the side of SK. I wasn't expecting the Akali. I thought that they might go for some unique, interesting pick, like maybe a Vel'Koz or a Xerath or something crazy into the Corki, but they are going to go for this Assassin, which means that we need to see Selfmade play around this mid lane, because right now Vitality have pressure in the mid lane with the Corki up against the Akali, especially early levels. They have push and pressure in the bot with the all-in power that Lucian and Alistair has, and Renekton often considered a pretty strong matchup into the Aatrox. Not one that you necessarily win all the time, it's a bit more back and forth, ebb and flow, but it feels to me like Vitality in terms of the early game have all of the power all across the map.
If there were a man to enable, if there were a player to rally behind, if there were a target for Selfmade to get in a good position, Jenax is the man. It's the man that has carried SK Gaming to this position. 2.5 weeks ago, there was only 10% of all remaining scenarios in the LEC that would allow SK to get to playoffs. They're sitting in one of them right now.
Yeah, all the way to the last second here, SK have a chance with Jenax piloting the Akali this time around. It won't be the signature Aatrox he's been so good on so far this split. Instead, going for the assassinations, going for the big plays.
SK Gaming won a tiebreaker game against Sjokz in spring to make it into playoffs. SK Gaming are in a tiebreaker game against Vitality to make it into playoffs. It is do or die to save your summer splits. And welcome back to the final game of the regular season. In fact, this is a bonus game. SK Gaming taking on Vitality for the 6th and final spot in the playoffs. They will join Rogue as one of the potential opponents for Splyce. Splyce get to pick either Rogue or the winner of this match. Let's take a look at who will be that team. And Vedius, you've already alluded, Vitality got some strong champions in the laning phase, so priority there on Selfmade to see where he's going to go and his decision making.
So, as a result of this, the junglers are actually the most important thing we need to track in terms of the early game, largely because where Mowgli chooses to invest his early game will dictate where Selfmade can answer. Because when you look at early game 2 versus 2, you give an advantage if Mowgli is in the top lane with a Renekton. You give the advantage down towards the bot side of the map. The only place you wouldn't necessarily give an advantage is the mid lane, but even then, it's difficult for an Akali and Sejuani to lock the Corki down unless Jiizuké is overextending. So what will likely happen is Selfmade will look to path and play around the opposite side of Mowgli, so that if Mowgli is shown in a lane, Selfmade can look to make something happen on the opposite side.
Right, or maybe try to find a counter gank, get up to that level 6 mark. Level 6 is where I think you can have a lot more kill threat, especially on a lane like the Corki. Jiizuké going to be rocking the TP as opposed to a cleanse to try and defend against that Sejuani ult at level 6. Now, one thing I did notice here is Dreams with his rune selection went for Guardian on the Yuumi. We often see the Comet or the Summon Airy, rather, for a little bit more lane dominance, but when we talked about it in draft, we thought Vitality were going to try to attack the bottom lane early with the heavy all-in of a Lucian plus an Alistar. If you have that extra defensive stat, you can try to defend against a dive, because what's very likely in a game like this is Mowgli clears those topside camps, goes back, picks up Predator Boots, and then looks to make some sort of a move, especially if Crownshot and Dreams are pushing in this bot lane.
Yeah, and right now we can see Mowgli doing what is known as a very typical classic Gragas path. He might drop... Oh, he's running early sweeper, which is fine, but I figured that he might path up towards bot just in the event of Cabochard getting early ganked and he wants to be able to cover him. But of course, they do have this ward. Thank you, observers, for pointing that one out. So Vitality have full information of where Selfmade is right now. The bot lane of Attila and Jactroll should know that they don't have jungle support, which means that they just have to be very conscientious of an early gank themselves.
So the nice thing about this pathing from Mowgli is that he's going to reset, get to full HP, pick up an item, and when Crab spawns at 315, both him and Selfmade will be in this bot side river. Mowgli should have the advantage because of his winning lanes and also being able to get that quick reset off earlier on, so he has the ability to sort of dictate where he can control the river. You know, Selfmade won't be able to fight him in this bottom side. Selfmade would have to reset and then path up top side and play on the opposite map of Mowgli the whole game.
So as we can see right now, the Scuttle Crab going to be secured by Mowgli, just as Ender was saying. And notice how, if we look at the minimap, pushing lanes for Vitality across the board. We talked about this in the draft, how SK, by prioritizing the Yuumi and Vitality answering immediately with the Lucian Corki, gave them so much strength. And then SK opting to pick the Akali into the Corki means that in the early game, honestly, SK don't have a lot of options. At level 6, those options expand a little bit more, but this comp is very much more about team fighting anyway. Once you get into the mid to late game, they have a lot more options, whereas Vitality are a little bit more reliant on actually finding an early game lead. Because they're running the Lucian, because they're running the Renekton champions that do tend to fall off the later the game goes, the onus is on Vitality to leverage this pressure they have in the early game in order to build a lead and then run away with it.
And I'm personally stepping back and thinking SK may have built themselves a really nice safety net, because Vitality in their most recent games have not been the most clean, not been the most coordinated. Earlier today, Vitality lost to Sjokz. They were running around the map trying to find plays. I remember them throwing a lead last week where they weren't able to capitalize on early advantages. So maybe SK have got themselves the tools they need in the later game, but let's see what Vitality can do. They do have a small gold lead already thanks to those early laning advantages.
So we see Vitality go for these comps a lot with very strong early games. Now Mowgli going to be trying to find out Dreams here. Should be hard to keep him locked down.
All right, Exhaust and Heal available for Dreams. Jactroll manages to get the knockup, but look at the tower really helping Crownshot out. Boomerang Blade or Ricochet could do a lot of work here. Boomerang goes out. Crownshot, I wondered if he'd flash over the wall, holding on to it.
Super close right there. Very aggressive coming out of Vitality. Really wanted to make the punish happen in the bottom lane, but Guardian and Exhaust coming in clutch for that 2v3.
Look at Sejuani right now. You can see that she is hanging around the bot side of the map, maybe looking for a gank mid. I thought that Selfmade right now would look for a potential dive bot. Notice that Mowgli is hanging around the bot side of the map because that was a big wave that was stacking up underneath this tower, and with the double teleports available for SK, they could have looked for a dive, and shutting down this duel would have been massive for SK in terms of the early game, but they decide not to go for it. They're going to play it a little safer. And so Attila and Jactroll, even though Jactroll loses his flash, they'll be able to pick up this farm.
Yeah, meanwhile, mid lane, Jiizuké also lost his flash too. Don't think it was on the screen for that right there. Really crucial summoner spell to be losing when Selfmade's going to be ticking over to level 6 in the next few minutes. That is exactly going to be the area on the map where I think SK will look to punish.
Well, if you saw that tweet there from Jenax just a moment ago saying 2-0, let's make it 3-0. Actually got Jenax's win-loss since joining SK Gaming. Reminder that this team went 0-8, 8-game losing streak. They're 3-9 before he joined, and now they're 4-2. If they win this, it'll be the 5th victory. Jenax has been one of the gigantic turnarounds for this team. And while he hasn't had a huge amount of support in the mid lane just yet, he has hit level 6, and we'll be able to start moving some pressure in on the Sacre.
So what I find really impressive about Jenax is he is not necessarily the superstar of this team. I do not think that he is the reason why they win games, but he is the difference maker that has elevated the rest of SK to perform at the level with which we expected coming into the start of the split as an all-in happens bot.
All right, Selfmade's going to be helping out the bottom lane. Dreams takes a lot of damage already. Already used both of the summoner spells. Jactroll, remember, no flash available. Stunned up, locked up, first blood. Crownshot, SK.
Yeah, Selfmade just cruises right on through the lane right there. Catches out Jactroll without the flash. Jactroll actually walking back towards SK a little bit right there. Mistake from him to get caught out, and SK pick up the quick first blood.
And this all stems from the fact that Jactroll burnt his flash earlier on in the lane. Yes, if that flash had resulted in a kill, then it would have been worth, but because they didn't convert it into anything, him going for this all-in ends up punishing him. They are not aware, and they do not respect the possibility of a jungler being in the bot side of the map. But Dream soaks up all this damage, jumps into Crownshot, and then is then saying, well, you can't kill me now, I'm perfectly safe, and I'm just going to help my jungler secure a kill.
So Mowgli will be responding with a steal of this blue buff on the top side. Does have to smite that one away and can't donate it over towards Jiizuké. Still though, big win as fight goes on top.
All right, see what happens here. Sacre will be able to get the chains down, pulls Cabochard back for now. Mowgli makes his way up, and Selfmade is waiting in the wings. The CS advantages that Vitality have accrued still keep them 400 gold up over SK, despite them sitting on first blood. So that is important to keep note of. And a Hex flash here from Jactroll will allow Crownshot to get caught out. Headbutt and pulverize, defensive flash. Crownshot hops in, hops back. Not enough just yet. The auto plays will not pick up the kill. And the freeze frame made me panic, but Crownshot escapes with his life.
Just barely too. Crownshot can TP back into the bottom lane. Now both junglers hovering around mid lane. Mowgli level 6 though. That's a big difference maker, and Selfmade must back away.
Jenax doesn't have the ultimate either. He used that to try and set up a kill onto Jiizuké, but they will not be able to find it. Crownshot being forced back now as Cabochard looking to set up a play onto Selfmade, but what we got to see in the bot lane was the all-in power of this Lucian Alistair and how effective it can be against the Sivir Yuumi duo. This is why we wanted to see Mowgli actually invest resources in towards the bottom side of the map, and while we did see him set up that one play earlier on, I feel like that he needs to spend more time, more resources actually trying to get this duo ahead, because it is very important to the success of this Vitality team composition.
And I think we will be seeing him do that in the next few minutes now, especially Crownshot lost the flash. The first gank wasn't quite able to burn that. I did like how Crownshot played that in the exchange, though, holding onto his spell shield, because spell shield against Alistar, really not effective to block out the initial combo with the headbutt pulverize, because you block one, you get hit by the other. You're really not going to be able to do all too much, so he saved it to try and dodge away from some of the damage coming through from Attila, which ultimately let him survive.
No, look at the teleports. TP is up for Cabochard, the package is available for Jiizuké, Mowgli is passing towards bot. Just as we were asking for it, Ender, you expected to see it, now we finally see it.
All right, Crownshot holds the spell shield for now, but is caught up, and really nicely done here from Vitality. Crownshot survives just long enough for Attila to step forward. Now Selfmade arrives, access to the ultimate, throws it out, tags Attila on the dash away, and with the follow-up, now Dreams chasing with the autos, jumps inside, and now all of a sudden looking to try heal up Selfmade. Prowling projectile tags down Jactroll. It ends up being 1-for-1.
Just one auto attack away there from Selfmade, being able to turn that into maybe more onto Jactroll. Big change there for SK. It looked like the clean play coming through from Vitality. It's exactly what we wanted to see. The combo pile up on towards Crownshot, but then coming around through the fog of war was actually Selfmade able to snipe out Attila, who had to tank that extra tower shot to get that final auto.
Exactly, that Ender in Selfmade once again showing us his skill shot ability with the ultimate from Sejuani. He made a name for himself last split. He was our rookie of the split in spring, and again, what we've seen with the introduction of Jenax is Selfmade really stepping up and returning to form, and his arrival to the bot side of the map helped SK a lot in terms of mitigating some of this early pressure.
And of course, earlier today, don't forget that SK Gaming eliminated Origin from playoff contention. SK took down OG. Selfmade was playing the Gragas, Crownshot was playing the Varus. They had two very important performances, or impressive performances, that even set them up to be in this scenario right now. But keep in mind that SK are still marginally behind in gold.
So this is a really smart lane swap coming through from SK. Remember, still no flash on this Sivir, so they were at big risk of having the map split on them, as Jenax now going to be zoned away from the tower. This is the trade they make. Herald for some turret plates in mid.
Ooh, I actually think he could have killed Jactroll there. He is still level 6. Selfmade now looking for the collapse with the Yuumi, but it looks like that they don't want to go for it. Without the ultimate available on the Sejuani, SK do not want to commit to the fight. They're going to be happy with the Rift Herald, but I'm surprised that Vitality have rotated their duo back up. What they should be doing in this time frame is actually either trading for plates or trading for towers, but they want to try and keep the 2 versus 2 going, which means that SK just walk away with a kill, and they may find another one onto Jactroll.
Well, look at this. Final chapter will get a stun and at least a flash away. Sacre has joined the fray. We've not seen much of the top laners. Mowgli not going to be able to do much, and Jiizuké forced to flash defensively. Now, I mentioned Sacre a moment ago. He's 104 CS to the 112. TPs are available for both, and we've just not seen that lane play out yet.
I really disagree with... Ooh, we see an engage in top.
Yeah, Attila, no flash available. Already used the E. There we go. And it's just going to get run down. A War Pig and a Battle Cat and a kill. Donated to Crownshot. You can't ask for more.
But this is exactly what we were just talking about, in the sense of why were Vitality trying to rotate back up towards the top side of the map? Why were they trying to fight in mid? They should have just been trading for pressure towards bot. They had priority on the tower. They could have secured plates, and now they're just losing full map control in an early game that should be entirely in their control.
Vedius, the sentence, why did Vitality X? I've heard a lot, and at the end of the day, SK pull ahead.
Here's the thing, if Vitality wanted to pull through the swap, they need Jactroll and Mowgli babysitting Attila up on the top side to try and get those kills. Instead, Attila's walking through the river, and Selfmade is able to play Sejuani plus Yuumi just like he was playing Evelynn plus Yuumi. Hops over the wall and gets basically a solo kill.
Well, listen, as it stands right now, SK, they've pulled ahead in gold. They're ahead in kills. We already know that this is for a summer playoff position, the last one. But something to add on to us is the fact that whoever loses this round cannot make it to regional qualifiers either. So there's so much more on the line than just making it to the summer playoffs.
Losing a shot at Worlds will be devastating for both of these teams, especially Vitality with their great run last year. But we got to see in the replay there, just Attila overextending in the top lane. Yes, he did have his flash, but there was very little value in using it because he wasn't going to get out of that situation. And it's unfortunate because I see Vitality do this so often where they draft very strong early game comps. And if we can flip over to the gold, remember one of the big things we said coming into this game was the bot lane needs to get ahead. That's a 900 gold difference in favor of Crownshot. Yes, they make up for it with the fact that Jiizuké has an 800 gold lead over Jenax. He's been able to get a bunch of plates in the mid lane. That is the saving grace right now for Vitality, but that's going to fall off because you won't have a bot lane that offers the same value that this Sivir is going to. So Vitality, unless they find some powerful fights right now, unless they get more gold onto this Lucian and regain some control in the game right now, things are only going to get worse and worse for Vitality.
Well, let's see what they can do itemization-wise. Essence Reaver has been picked up on the side of Crownshot. Blade of the Rune King completed for Attila's Lucian. And Jiizuké is moving towards that Trinity Force. Got the Hex Drinker. Actually just completed it moments ago. So there is some power in conjunction with the package. So there's a window of opportunity here for Vitality as Jactroll is looking for an engage into Crownshot. Flash is available to him, but in comes Dream, still holding on to the flash. Selfmade goes forward. First chapter is thrown down. The target is Attila for now. 80 carry traded for 80 carry. Sacre teleported into the fight, and Cabo joins the fray as well. Sacre running for his life. Flash defensively there from Jenax. Now looking for a re-engage. Selfmade already used the ultimate, and nothing further happens.
SK can't go for this fight because Jiizuke's still alive. Selfmade's called out. He's got no flash.
Oh, he's in so much
Package.
trouble. There's the package from Jiizuké. Just as it is used. The Trinity Force timing working in favor. All of a sudden, SK are routed. Sacre survives just by the skin of his teeth. And Vitality, they pull a rabbit out the hat.
Clutch fight there for Vitality, turning that fight around. It was a 1-for-1 right off the bat. Vitality loaded into this game with an extra 80 carry, so Jiizuké still able to do some damage. Mowgli also chasing down Selfmade on the bottom side of that fight to pick up an extra kill.
The important thing to know is that in extended fights, without the Sivir, Vitality's in a great position because, as Ender was just saying, 280 carries, usually better than one. So keep your eyes on Attila initially in this fight. Crownshot is out of position. He gets collapsed on by the duo. The problem is from the duo is they don't realize that they don't have pressure anywhere else in the map. The TP comes out first from SK, and this tank Sejuani ends up becoming an assassin alongside Jenax. So they end up trading 80 carry for 80 carry. Now they need to realize that Jenax's ultimate has gone down, so he doesn't have kill threat onto the backline anymore, and Jiizuké has this meat shield to protect him. So SK just need to disengage. Selfmade stays a little bit too long, allowing Mowgli to get this collapse, and then Jiizuké is holding on to the package, so he effectively denies any potential save onto Selfmade, allowing Vitality to come out ahead.
And Vitality were able to split the fight super effectively at the end right there, basically siloing Selfmade away from the rest of his team so they could sort of divide and then conquer through this fight. They can definitely try to do that, especially when they have the package up.
And this gives Vitality a 600 gold lead. They are still down a kill, and the Cloud Drake is still standing. While all that's going on, it looks like Cabochard is under a little bit of pressure. He's got the Spear of Shojin completed, as well as the Kindle Gem and the Executional Calling. And now Jenax got the ultimate available to him. Jiizuké is going to poke him away and use all the ammo allotment available. And as it stands, you've now got a swap in this sort of laning phase.
So look at exactly how SK are reacting every time they see Mowgli. They saw him presence top, Selfmade comes mid, they look to threaten. Sacre now grouping up with the team, no teleport, so SK want to try and stay united right now. They recognize that as a 5, they are stronger, but at this point in the game, they still have to be very careful about going for fights. We talk a lot about how Vitality's comp is strong in the early to mid game. Blade of the Ruin King finished, Trinity Force finished, Spear of Sjojin done for Cabochard. A lot of these big item spikes are finished for Vitality, which means that if they find a 5v5 right now, they should actually come out on top.
And when we look at windows of power these two teams can be trying to find fights, it's important to remember what cooldowns are important. For SK, it's all about Sejuani R. If that spell is off cooldown, or is on cooldown, they really can't do much of anything when it comes to forcing fights outside of Jenax going for solo kills. Whereas on the side of Vitality, I think they're super flash reliant. This means big, long cooldown windows where Mowgli can't body slam flash, or Jactroll can't use his flash to also come in on a flank.
Well, as it stands, Mowgli's in trouble. He is going to use the stopwatch for now. Stays alive a few seconds longer. Tries to get away, and that's a shutdown. It's Selfmade that picks it up with the help of Yuumi and Siva. Both of their ultimates were used. Selfmade is actually going to dash over the wall, and Attila just gets blown
He's going
up.
for it!
Jenax isn't done yet! The man of the moment for SK Gaming. Yes, he does concede his life. Now Cabo is being pulled into the fray. 1 for 3, and there is still some pressure in this mid lane.
SK find themselves 3 very quick kills, and it's all off the back of Selfmade. The rookie of Spring Split is really stepping up in this tiebreaker. He's been involved in 6 of the 7 kills, and just look at the way he's playing with confidence. Diving over the wall, recognizing that Mowgli is slightly out of position. Following that up with a chase onto Renekton to allow Jenax to go for that dive. I believe he even secured himself a double kill underneath the tower. Just beautifully played by the jungler of SK to set up for the rest of his team.
And the more we see SK grouping up and finding these fights, the better and better things are going to look for them. Again, it's Selfmade leading the charge onto Mowgli. He knows he does so much damage alongside that Yuumi pick, so they're able to get that first kill on towards Mowgli, and then it's this later collapse from Jenax over the wall that's able to catch out Attila, using the ultimate to close the gap, get down the damage, and style points ease to drop tower aggro before he then returns and gets that kill into Jactroll.
That was clutch timing as well, because just as the Lucian dies, it means that the E Shuriken from Akali goes through the dead body of the Lucian to hitting the Alistair to allow him to get the follow-up. Beautiful stuff from SK, but now they're the ones on the defense. They're likely going to lose this mid tower. Vitality grouping up as 5. SK may look for another fight.
Selfmade's ultimate still on cooldown. That was the first tower of the game to fall. And it is still an even goal game as far as things are concerned. Death Dance was picked up by Sacre in the top lane. Essence Reaver working towards IH for Crownshot. Now Jiizuké gets chunked out. Jenax is stepping forward. Perfect execution will be available in a moment or two, but crucially, The package has now been used. Selfmade is available. Look at the engage. Crownshot's already blown up, but here comes Sacre. Dreams is trying to do what he can, stopping between targets. Selfmade's ultimate goes way wide. Jenax, can he find a snipe in the back line? The answer is no. Vitality kill SK.
Jactroll just seized the moment right there after Jiizuké uses the package to completely flee the scene of the crime. It's Jactroll that says, we're going in and we're going in now for the instant kill on a Crownshot in the second tower of the game.
This is a much cleaner mid-game than what we saw from Vitality earlier today. More decisive, they're making the plays, and right now they're ahead. They've got the second tower as well.
That's the thing, it seems like it's still Vitality individually making decisive plays. There it's Jactroll going right in. The rest of his team a little slow to fall, but yes, they get the kill right there, but we must make sure they're a united front moving forward if they want to stay in playoffs.
So notice how Vitality have push in the mid lane, which gives them access to the river, but Jenax in a 1v1 against Jiizuké forces them back. The mistake here is from Crownshot, trying to access the mid lane by going through a greedy path, allowing for the rest of Vitality to get this collapse. Really good awareness from Vitality to know they can go for this fight, and with the arrival of Jiizuké, they now split SK up to allow the follow-up to come through, and while I don't think they find any additional kills, that's all they need to secure a tier 2 tower.
And seeing it again, right, there was instant follow-up there from Mowgli, so definitely on the same page here, trying to get that kill on Crownshot. Now, he did retain his flash, so it's going to be harder to make that happen again. And remember, Jactroll and Mowgli both used their flashes there, so it's a much larger window before they can really make a play, unless SK misposition out of control.
Well, look, it's still 22 minutes into the game. Crownshot will be doing a lot of damage on this tower. Selfmade's got his ultimate available. If Vitality step forward, this will be trouble.
So notice now that Cabochard is pushing in the bot lane. Our observers just highlighted all the wards from Vitality that are lying in wait right behind SK. This means that there's the potential for a TP flank, but Vitality right now, they don't want to run the risk. Thank you. As they're highlighting in the pit, notice that there are all these opportunities for Vitality to find a flank, which is very powerful for the Rectum because it can often struggle to get into the backline. So with that TP coming in, there's a real risk if SK overcommit in the mid lane.
Please keep your eyes on Itemization because Cabochard, not only is he up 24 CS, he's got the Black Cleaver completed as well. Mowgli, by the way, Hourglass completed, and Jiizuké, the Rapid Fire Cannon. So scaling up as far as that Itemization is concerned. Unfortunately, Crownshot just got that eye edge. Jactroll looks to be donating a kill, or will he? The ultimate buys enough time. There's the flash away. Crownshot uses it defensively. Selfmade throws forward. The ulti, Jiizuké's caught out and in trouble. Gragas Barrel actually splits up SK. Jiizuké goes down. Here comes Jenax. He steps all the way forward. Jactroll's the target. His ultimate is timed out, and there won't be any further follow-up. Jenax goes into the Shroud for now.
Selfmade comes over the wall, gonna slow down Cabochard. He wants on this chase, but the rest of his team not quite in position to follow up there. It was Vitality going so deep to try and start off that fight, and they got punished.
I feel like Vitality were utilizing their pressure well, but then they tried to go for a fight in the enemy jungle, and they didn't respect the ability for SK to collapse. SK, they end up finding themselves a return kill, and let's have a look at exactly how this is set up. So again, remember, they have the push in mid, Vitality also have the threat in bot. The problem is, Sacre gets to move into the jungle much before the Renekton even shows up.
And Jactroll is just so far away anyone else on his team. Renekton has to TP from bot lane. It's a very short TP right there just to enter into this fight. It was Jactroll trying to make a move without anyone there to immediately punish.
And the problem is, it feels like a split call there from Vitality because they don't want to engage in the fight, or at least some of them don't, whereas Jiizuké's all in. He's on the front line, he takes the Sejuani ultimate to the face. He's then out of position, and with him gone, Vitality can't look to turn that fight around.
If you've just joined us, this is do or die for both teams. A win here puts you into playoffs, and maybe gets you into the regional qualifiers. A loss here eliminates you from both. That is guaranteed. We need to take a look at how both of these teams advance. We're 24 minutes in. Vedius, during the draft, you talked about the team fight prowess and some of the scaling powers on the side of SK. Is this starting to get to the place where they're comfortable and happy?
Yes, I feel like they're getting closer, but they're not there just yet. Given that Vitality still have a lot of 2-item power spikes completed, they should still be relatively strong depending on how the fights actually play out. So I would say that the game is relatively even. It very much depends on who has the better setup, who finds the better engage. But the longer this game goes on, you slowly start to tip that scale further and further into SK's favor, as Selfmade has the ultimate. He's looking for it.
He is in. indeed. Where's it gonna get thrown? Not gonna attack just yet. That's gonna be enough of a stun for now. Jactroll's ulti's buying enough time. Manages to catch out Sacre. Sacre not gonna be able to escape with his life, and here comes Jenax a little late to the party. Crownshot's down low, below 50% HP, and Mowgli escapes. The prowling projectile does so much! Jenax cannot quite get in range to pick up the kill, but now Cabo's in trouble.
Selfmade still on the charge right here. SK Gaming continue to try and extend these fights. They get knocked down first, but unable to turn it around even more.
But SK tried to force a fight without Jenax being there. He was on the blue buff and Vitality knew it. Mowgli saw what he was doing, so they could assure themselves that this was a 4 versus 5, giving them the opportunity to turn onto Sacre and actually turn that into a winning fight for Vitality.
Vitality also have the next 2 minutes to make a play on Crownshot. He doesn't have a splash. Jactroll and Mowgli are both ready to pounce. They have the package on Jiizuké now as well. So with their items coming through, with the summoners being down on the enemy ADC, this is the moment, the next few minutes, where I think Vitality can try to seize control.
Well, it feels like Vitality have been landing the punches they've been throwing, as you can see from this replay.
So again, look at the minimap and note where Akali is as this engage happens. They feel like that they can go for this fight even without him, because technically it's a 4v4 without the Gragas there. But with the Renekton and the Alistair standing in the way and Attila having enough time to get behind his front line, it means that there's no real threat on the back line, which is what Jenax is so important for. He needs to be the one creating chaos and splitting Vitality up to allow the rest of SK to get this collapse. And notice how low all these members got as another fight kicks off.
It does. Jiizuké looked like he used the package there either from east to west, and as it stands, Jenax is coming down the river. His ultimate will be available in just a moment or two, and you can see Sacre in the bottom lane. Teleport is available. When that gets pulled, you have to expect a fight. Selfmade's now back to the
Vitality
lane.
won this.
Jenax can flank if he wants to, and Selfmade turns it around. Jenax is the target.
Gonna be able to hop over the wall right here. Vitality really want a fight right now. They have full control of the river, and Crownshot doesn't have his flash for about 40 more seconds. They really want it though, Vedi.
Please do not start this Baron, Vitality. Yes, this is good. You can find a pick.
All right, Selfmade's in trouble. He may get blown up before he can cast the ultimate. Manages to get across, but how much will it work? Jactroll goes all the way forward. Jenax escapes with his life. For now, Crownshot is golden thanks to the Hourglass, but it's going to get taken down. The stopwatch couldn't keep him alive long enough. The prowling projectile gets one. Sacre gets another. This is such a crazy fight in the jungle. Sacre trying to get more from the knockups.
Vitality, they needed this fight so badly. 26 minutes on the clock. They now have the ability. Jiizuké is still alive. Could they turn it into a Baron? Seems like the call is going to be no at the moment. But Vitality with a big win right there.
I'm so happy to see Vitality not actually start the Baron and instead just threaten it. SK face check and Vitality get a good punish. But notice how close this fight is when it takes so long for Sacre to even join the fray. This is a big risk for Vitality because there's a huge wave in bot and top that they need to catch. But by killing Selfmade, they want to turn this then into a Baron. The problem is that this trio of SK actually stalls for such a long time that it allows Sacre to join the fight. A big 3-man stun comes out from Jenax, and Sacre looks like he's about to melt through. But Jenax's ult focus does not go onto the low health members, so SK could have turned this into a closer fight, but in the end it ends up being 4-for-2 in favor of Vitality.
Yeah, Crownshot able to deal so much damage in that fight too, even though he was taken down towards the start of it right there. I think Dreams also sniped out the kill on Attila there as well. If both AD carries were alive for Vitality, I think they can easily turn it into a Baron, so that kill was super clutch for SK.
I start to worry for SK Gaming. Before this game started, Froskurinn as well as Finn and Sjokz felt that SK, with a stronger looking team, have been performing better. And I was in agreement, but it's Vitality that have the advantage right now, and they are playing well. But we're starting to enter the late game phase, and the dream, the surprise SK story, will it end here? Will Vitality be able to turn this around? Jactroll gets rooted down, throws down the ultimate, catches out Crownshot, who still has his flash available. Jactroll gets pulled backwards. Jenax is chasing out Attila. It's a fight on multiple fronts, and Crownshot is continuing to hammer away. The boomerang ricochet blades are doing work on Vitality, and nobody dies.
Vitality just will not go down right there. SK tried to get the pick on towards Jactroll, but he jumped straight back into the rest of SK there. We continue to see both teams just run down and butt heads in the mid lane, but neither team was willing to give an inch.
But what was so cool about that play was how we got to see what Jenax is supposed to be doing in these team fights. He used his Shroud to zone away both Jiizuké and Attila from the fight. They were terrified of approaching anywhere near that brush. And so again, I want to keep your eyes on Jenax, because initially, Jactroll is out of position. Yes, they go for that collapse, but notice what the mid laner from SK is doing. He doesn't care about the support. His eyes are only set on Attila. The ulti lands, he dives in, and he's saying, you guys, you can't enter the fight. This is now a 3 versus 4, but unfortunately for them, Cabochard is just too tanky. He's able to get out of that fight. But every time, later into these games, Jenax will be the determining factor. If he can keep Jiizuké and Attila out of the fights, then it will make it a lot easier for SK. But with the amount of dive that Vitality have, if they can kill Crownshot, before that happens, then Vitality can end up winning. So there's a lot on the line in both these fights, and it's all about which AD carry ends up dying first.
Let's take a look at the itemization, and of course the fact there's 2 AD carries on the side of Vitality. Infinity Edge, RFC, and Trinity Force for Jiizuké. Phantom Dancer, Essence Reaver, Blade of the Ruined King, as well as that QSS for Attila. Selfmade, with the help of Yumi's projectiles, step forward. I held my breath waiting for an ultimate, but there was no Jenax nearby. And while I talked about the Vitality items, PD and Zeal sitting for Crownshot to back up the Eye-Edge and Essence Reaver. Jenax has got himself 2 and a bit items as well, and we haven't really fought around the Baron. It's 30 minutes in. It's a 2,000 gold lead for Vitality. But look at Jactroll waiting in the wings.
Yeah, watch how Vitality tried to set up a flank right now. When they're lacking their summoner spells, when they're lacking the flashes, they need to come in at an angle. Cabochard can teleport in if there is a fight, but they want to lure SK into the river to then have Jactroll come in from behind.
There are pings. They are aware. SK, oh, they're actually just pushing up mid lane. Jactroll is still very far behind them, though. This allows SK to get the push on mid as the tower drops on top.
The difference is SK don't have a wave in mid lane just yet, so they're just going to have to walk into the river now. Keep your eyes on Jactroll.
All right, Jactroll's going to back away. It made it to Vitality. Prowling Projectile will buy some time. Teleport's coming to the mid lane. SK Gaming have grouped up as 5.
But now Vitality have to make the choice. Do they commit to Baron or do they trade for pressure? And they're going to utilize the fact that they have a pushing wave in top lane, along the fact that SK have a pushing wave in mid. They're not going to trade it for towers, though.
SK do not want to go for the tower trade. They're trying to find this flank. They're trying to get Crownshot and Jenax into this team fight. Jactroll underneath.
Prowling Projectile's not going to find anybody. Jactroll's the target for now. He gets a 2-man knockup, but Sacre's coming in from the backside. Crownshot forced to flash defensively in 6-1. The ultimate goes wide. Doesn't stun anybody. Jenax looking for Jactroll.
He's down!
He's dead! Vitality punish SK!
Jactroll is smashing his desk right now. Vitality just wiped SK near their base. The minions are going to be delayed, but the death timers are long. This might be it for Vitality.
Look at the player cams. SK Gaming are distraught, are depressed, are damaged, because that might be the final fight. Vitality pushing into the base.
All 5 members are dead for SK. Vitality have had a tumultuous split, but this ace could be what takes them to playoffs.
Vitality eliminate SK Gaming from playoffs and from the regional qualifiers. Vitality make it to the postseason.
An extremely tense game between these 2 teams. We talked a lot about how the later this game goes, the harder it's going to be for Vitality to pull this composition off. But Jiizuké was the late game insurance. He was the guy that was so far ahead of Jenax in terms of itemization and just straight up damage output. And we talked about how the difference maker was going to be which backline was threatened more. Well, the amount of dive that Vitality had, their ability to just zone Crownshot out of the fight, and then the moment Jenax came in, he just insta-dies, allows them to win that battle with all 5 members alive and walk their way into playoffs.
At the same time, it was Jactroll looking like bait right there, splitting off from his team, but then the second SK all come around grouped up against that wall, he gets the multi-man knockup, teams up with Mowgli to punt Jenax into his backline in order to get that kill. Such a pivotal moment in this match. Just one team fight that decided which team was going to stay and which team was going to go.
And it was Vitality, their experience, that managed to shine through. When you look at their decision-making around Baron, the call to go for the tower, and then, of course, punishing the SK team fight. All credit to Vitality. They win when it matters most. They make it to round 1 of the playoffs. And they even give the Shoutcasters a couple of high fives. Everybody doubted them, and they showed up when it mattered most.
It's definitely been a tough split for both these teams. I feel like for SK, I mean, I remember sitting on PGL with Crownshot and him telling me that he doesn't think the playoffs is realistic. He doesn't think that the team stands a chance. He doesn't think that they really had an opportunity to make the run. And then they get to this position where a single game could have put them into playoffs. But the fact that they were able to bounce back from the situation they were in showcased what Jenax did to the team, the growth they were able to make in that short space of time, and how close they came to that playoff spot.
It's incredible to see the emotion on the players. Vitality feel it. They show it. They are fierce competitors. Victory and defeat today, they tasted both. But it was the win and the tiebreaker that mattered most. Jactroll, Yamato, and Attila, the last to leave the stage. And earlier today, the beginning of the show, there were 4 combatants fighting for 2 spots. SK and Origin have fallen. Vitality and Rogue advance, and the question we asked is who had the ceiling, who had the potential to cause upsets? Vitality is a team that has the ceiling, but boy oh boy do they have the variance as well.
They do, and this is one of those moments. Again, Jactroll isolates himself down here, but then gets the multi-man knockup, including on towards Crownshot. The cask from Gragas sends Jenax packing into the rest of the team fight. Then he realizes this is do or die. He needs to come into the back here, but all of Vitality turn on a dime, instantly knock him out of the fight. A clean 5-4-0 ace in the last moments of Vitality versus SK.
And we talked about how execution of these comps was what was going to matter so much. And in the end, it was Vitality that played the final team fight so much better. You can see how close the game was for so long, and then that huge trough where Vitality were able to take the win.
Yeah.
Great way to end the split. Very close games. 2 teams very evenly matched. And it could have gone either way, but Vitality maintained their record, yet to miss a playoffs since coming to the European scene. And they're going to be very happy, and you can see it on Jactroll's face.
It's an emotional victory because this was the hardest road forward yet for Vitality. Just so you know, Attila will be joining us on PGL alongside Sjokz and Froskurinn. And Vitality make it to the postseason. They eliminate SK. SK will not make it into the regional qualifiers either. But it is far from over. There's still a lot of work for Vitality to do. That does it for us here on the cast desk. We're going to head over to see what Jiizuké has to say after qualifying for playoffs.
Thank you very much, guys. And thank you, Jiizuké, for joining me. Wow, what a road from you guys. Any first thoughts on making it to playoffs? Finally.
I'm just happy that we closed our low streak and we managed to qualify. I think if we didn't qualify for playoffs just because of a 6-lose streak like this, I would be like really destroyed inside. So I'm just happy we made playoffs.
I can imagine, and I know how helpful Yamato can be in motivating you guys before the game. So can you tell me what he told you just before he left the stage?
My brain is a bit fried right now, but
I can imagine. Just the spirit of it, let's say.
Well, he says many things and just tries to put us in the best position to play the game. I can't actually remember what he said now, but he always tries to put us in the best position, and then our shout at the end is, it means that we are in this together, and we just do it together.
All right, well, let's rewind for a bit. You get in the studio today, hoping for playoffs. Things don't go your way. Talk me about the thought process. When you lose the game, you know you're going to have to play a tiebreaker. How was it for you guys?
Yeah, it was a long day indeed. I woke up early. I thought I would play only one game, and then instead I have to wait 4 hours, 3 hours to play the tiebreaker, and it was really hard to stay sane mental-wise, I guess. I took one tea and a coffee, so tried my best. I hope I performed good. I actually don't know because my brain is so fried that I don't even know if I play good. I hope I did.
I know. I mean, usually you guys have a week to prep for games. Today you only had like a few hours. So how did you come up with the right draft to make the playoff with only like a few hours notice?
Well, it was lucky that we played SK last week. I think, last week. So we were already ready on what to draft against them, and we had like fresh mind of what they would play and what we wanted to play. Yeah, I think we insta-locked everything. Like our draft was like everything we wanted, and yeah, we pulled it out, even if early didn't go so well.
Still, it took a long time for you guys, but you managed to do it in the end. So do you know what made the difference in the end? Because from what we've seen previously from you guys, that was not playoff material at all.
I don't want to say that we wanted it more than them, because I'm pretty sure they wanted it. I think they wanted it as much. I know Selfmade wanted, the Dreams wanted, the Crownshot. They wanted it as hard as us. I don't know the other two, but yeah. And I don't know, just in the game, what made the difference, I think, is that we did the things they did not expect, and then they were caught off guard, and then they made many mistakes because of it. I think that's what happened. Like, I think everyone here was tired in this game, so we just played outside of the box, and we won because of it.
It's insane because you know how usually people say that Vitality is very predictable in the style you have. So is it a new era for Vitality beginning with this new style out of the box, as you said?
I think our style that we had at Worlds was because we were all really confident going to a game, and we were like all playing on our limits mechanically. But right now I think we're not in a, and we knew like base of macro and base of everything, but I think right now we're not in a good spot to pull that off because we're not at the best of our form. But I think the moment we get to the best of our form, you'll see many players in this team just popping off. You will see me 1v3ing somewhere, and stuff will happen.
And
sure.
playing Echo and stuff like that. Do you know what you're missing right now to be on top of your form? Because you used to have this confidence. I mean, you beat Genji last year at Worlds and managed to get them out of group. That was the first in years for a Korean team. So how do you get back to this fire Vitality as we know it?
Well, honestly, playoffs, summer playoffs, and at least for me, summer playoffs, and when I played the third place match against Misfits and then Worlds was my best form, of course. And afterwards, even if we lost, I stayed in Korea. I would come for 2 months because I wanted to evolve myself even more. And that's what I thought it would be. I went into Spring Split this year that I was actually unstoppable, but it sucks to use this excuse, but for my health problems, I legit had like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe more, that I actually didn't practice. Like I screamed only maybe, and did nothing else than that. And I was tired every day and just without energy, and I lost all my confidence there. And with time, I tried my best to regain that confidence, and holy shit, getting emotional.
Oh. Yeah, give him a round of applause, guys, please. Dude, you did it. I mean, you had rough weeks. And
anyway, like after Spring Split, of course, I was not at my top either. But I think like lately, like last 3 weeks, I've gained that confidence back, and I hope that we can go to our top form again, and I can shine as the Jiizuké you remember again.
I hope the health is better now, and that this win will give you the strength to go into playoffs, because, boy, you deserve it. You'll be playing against Schalke. I just heard that from the control room, so any words on that before we leave?
Well, I can't wait to get a revenge, I guess, for today.
Yes. And happy smiling Jiizuké, please.
Huh?
Happy smiling Jiizuké for the next
of course.
Yeah?
I mean, honestly, when I came today, I thought we could win against them, and I will think the same for playoffs. Honestly, between all those teams, I was only scared of if Fnatic went to third place, and then I had to face them, because usually we always lose to Fnatic in playoffs, like always. So it's cool that they're not in the way, like they're a bit in the end. So
yeah, we'll see.
It's cool that we have to face other teams and then we face them. It's more like, oh, let's win first and then final raid boss. I guess now there are 2 final raid boss. There is Jiizuké as well, but yeah, it's cool this way. It's better.
Well, we'll see next week because we'll see you playing against Schalke. I want to see this smile again next week, please. And thank you for joining me. Congrats again for reaching playoffs. And for more about this last week, let's send it over to PGL.